Show. Welcome back to 9:20 is the time. Man, good job, CJ. Look at that. Normally I'm either way ahead or way late. You know, there's never really a happy medium.
Well, you're professional, right?
Well, this is great. For the first time, Bill, I get to interview you. You know,
this has been weird. You know, as I've gone on doing these things, you know, the first thing I did is kind of a media tour for this was an interview with Matt Camp at the Edwardsville Intelligencer, and went on the front page of the Intelligencer, where I was original a sports writer and the sports editor, and hired Matt Camp under me as the sports editor, and now I'm sitting on the other side of it. So it's a little surreal to be doing this, but it's a lot of fun.
Well, what a really, not only it's such a great project, but a great story.
Yeah.
Where should we start on this?
Well, maybe we'll go back. I mean, for me now, I haven't been a professional sports writer now in the area since 2020, so I can kind of go through my timeline with that a little bit. Going back, originally I was a public relations guy for the Bluff City Bombers. I did my internship there in 2001, and then in 2002 I worked for the Bombers. So a lot of people know me from there. And then in 2005, I got hired in the advertising department at the Edwardsville Intelligencer, then worked in circulation. And by 2007, I was a sports writer there. I started out there, and I was a sports writer from 07 to 10, became the sports editor in 2010, stayed there until 2014, and then got hired away to the Advantage, where I worked at the Advantage from 2014 to 2020, and lost my job then during COVID, you know, and I had called games on WBGZ and have done a podcast for WBGZ. I used to get called Coach Speak. So I've done a lot of media stuff in the area, but you know, unfortunately that loss of my job in 2020 was pretty devastating. You know, I mean, I didn't do anything wrong. It was just, you know, cutbacks due to money constraints because of COVID. So now, fast forward, I get a job in contract logistics in later in the summer of 2020. Worked my way up into being a training supervisor there. I trained all the new hires that came in, and then we got to a point where I was actually interviewing for a corporate communications job, and I felt like I was going to get it. And right in the middle of that, I get called in to see our campus director, and I get told that my job's being eliminated for money cutbacks. Again, nothing I did wrong. I'm excelling. I'm getting asked to do tons of things. I was, helping run employee resource groups and doing a lot of things, but I get let go. This was October, right before Halloween of 2025. I'm devastated. What am I going to do? I start looking for jobs. Can't really find anything. We're going into fourth quarter anyway. And then in January, I was kind of not having any success. I'm on unemployment, and I wanted to push a novel I wrote years ago. Even before I was a sports writer at the Intelligencer, I wrote a novel, and it's a fiction novel about some things growing up in Fosterburg. It was an abandoned house that me and my buddies found, and I basically wrote an urban legend around this. As my sports career took off, and I started writing food reviews on top of that, and getting on committees, like when I'm the president of the Gallatin Awards, basketball awards still, I was on the Alton Hall of Fame committee. All these things just kind of overtook my life, and the book went on the back burner. But in the back of my mind, it's like, I have to get this done. Well, now I'm like, where am I going to start? So I start working with an online marketing guy, and we're at a point one day where we're talking we're on the phone for like 8-9 hours. We're on a Zoom call and just trying to figure out what I'm going to do to help push this novel. But you can't there's got to be something to help promote the novel and everything, and build a brand. And I'm wanting to go back to doing sports podcasting and all that. He goes, what does that have to do with a fiction novel though? And he goes, if you're a writer, like you say you're a writer and this is what you want to do, what you have a passion for, you should be able to write a short story by the time we meet next week. And I'm like, man, what am I going to write about? I don't know. Well, that brings me to the Reedy Chronicles. I know I'm getting there
That's
in a
really
long,
cool. No, dude, I think it's
long
great.
route, but
Well,
yeah.
and so, so take me through that, because this is obviously a major impact on your life. I mean, and just hearing before we go on the air, a little during the break, just, not only, how important this book was in your relationship and friendship, but also what it spurred for you afterwards because of this too, has just been really remarkable. And it just shows really the everlasting, impacts of a friendship and of any relationship, a true relationship,
Yeah. So Jason Reedy was my best friend from the time I was 13 years old. Wow. I'm an only child. I didn't have any siblings, so he became my brother. He spent Christmas with me, Thanksgiving, Easter, 4th of July, birthdays. We were always together for things like that. He was a big part of my life. And in January of 2025, I get a call. He died unexpectedly of a heart attack. He was an over-the-road trucker. He was waiting to get unloaded, and they call his phone, and he doesn't answer. They go out, they find him dead in his truck. Devastated, absolutely devastated. I didn't know what I was going to do. Well, during that time, I'm still working and everything, and a lot of people are like, you need to publish your book. You need to publish your book in his name and everything. So I start looking things up. The first thing I come across, I'm looking up local publishers just to try and feel my way around. First thing that pops up when I Google that is Reedy Publishing. It's just a small publishing company in St. Louis. It doesn't have anything to do with what my kind of book is, but it's still a sign, you know. So I started writing these little memories on my Facebook page about him and I, and they weren't stories per se. They were just posts, and memories. And so when I get tasked, you got to write a short story by next week, I'm like, what if I write about Reedy? So I ended up writing 2 short stories in that first week to meet back with my marketing guy. And they're the first 2 stories in this magazine, in the Reedy Chronicles. There's one about the first time him and I went tubing at Gillespie Lake, and then another one about I showed him No Country for Old Men, the movie, and he hated it so much he got
no way.
Oh, he hated it so much because of the ending. It's it's so ambiguous, and he got up, yelled at me, cussed me out, and left. He was like, "Man, I'm going home. I can't even take this." So I wrote those 2 stories, and the marketing guy I'm working with, Ian's like, "These are fantastic." So we went to Substack, which if you know anything, a lot of people don't know about Substack.com. A lot of writers do, but Substack.com, check it out. It's where old journalists and novelists go to die, I think. It's full of writers. It's a complete writing platform. No advertising. It's subscription based. I put my stuff on there for free. If you want to subscribe, you can, but you don't have to. And all my, writing is on there. And I started putting stuff there, and then I grew into a YouTube channel. And then from that, I started the podcast too. So since March, really, I started doing Substack. Every Monday I'd post a story. Then when March hit and I got YouTube up and going, it was Monday Substack, Wednesday YouTube, Friday podcast, and boom, 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 with the idea of eventually taking those short stories and growing them into this collectible magazine, the Reedy Chronicles. And this is volume 1. That's important. It says volume 1 up there because there's going to be more of these. That's really cool. They're randomly about our lives. And I worked with Missy Long, who was a great graphic designer with me. She'd been at the Telegraph and then was at the Advantage with me, and Missy has helped me out, and she's done all the layout on this. I get her the material, and then she lays it out, and we've been putting it out on a platform called MagCloud, magcloud.com, and they did this beautiful glossy magazine. I mean, it looks very professional, straight off of bookshelves in the 90s, and it's growing so fast now. Fred Pollard's selling it at Mom Said No and Alton too. You can go there and pick up a copy, and you don't have to worry about the shipping and handling charges. So it's really growing from there, and I'm going to have more of these. I'm thinking maybe a quarterly thing. Volume 2 will come out this fall. This came out just about a month ago.
How many stories are in volume?
There's 5 of them, 5 short stories about him, plus an editorial about our friendship and about him, who he was as a truck driver and things that he did in life, like overcoming cancer at one point in his life and taking care of his mother when she had gotten cancer and ended up succumbing to it, and some of the things that he did to just show the type of person he was and about our friendship and everything. And then there's a column on the back cover about me and about my career and where I all started. So, my first article, you can call it my first published article, was in the 5th grade.
That's awesome.
I wrote an article about Willie McGee. It was right after he'd been MVP of the league, and it was basically about how Willie McGee was a great baseball player and how he had to overcome his ugliness to become so great, And it got posted at Alton Square, and my parents were so proud. I think my mom still has that somewhere, but that was kind of the thing that got me started as a writer all the way back then.
How cool is it, though? I mean, just really take a step back and just see, like, every really big component of your life is coming together truly in this one project.
It is. And, that's one thing that kind of sucks about life is you got all these experiences, and it's not till you get older that you realize that you've been building towards a certain point, and it's like all of it can come together. I mean, my training career helps me and all that because it teaches me, it's taught me how to learn, because I learned how to teach doing that. So I know how to learn things and go step by step. I understand from working for a bigger company how to set up a strategic plan, how to have a standard operating procedure so I can have a baseline for what I'm doing, and everything is strategic moving forward. It's step by step. And I think just like all of us, you get antsy, you want it to move faster, but growth with something like this is slow. And, we talked a little bit off mic, is easy as the writing part of it for me and the creating part of it is for me. I'm not a salesman and a marketing person. So all that has been new to me. I've had to learn how to do video editing, which I'm doing all on my own. It's been great. One thing, I will say I do have one advantage, I think, from what most writers have. A lot of writers are introverts, and I happen to not be. I'm pretty extroverted, and something like this is not difficult for me to be in front of a microphone. So it's helped me too with that.
Well, it has to be, because you have to truly be able to it is
sell yourself,
get out there, because it's all within the palm of your hand anymore. And how do you use how do you use it? And so going into this, what's the biggest impact that you think Reedy had, on you? Not, and I won't even go like from a professional aspect, but just what makes Bill Bill. What do you think that is?
That Reedy had affected me?
Yeah.
Just his undying support and always being there. I mean, he was a truck driver. He actually got his GED. He dropped out of high school. Education was important, but there's a story that'll be in a future Reedy Chronicle that I have on Substack. He was there the day I graduated college. He wouldn't take no for an answer. He was going to go sit through my college graduation.
No way. This
is a guy that dropped out of high school and got his GED and never gave a crap about class. He never really even tried. He wasn't dumb by him. He just didn't ever put himself out. He didn't push himself towards anything educationally. But for me, so proud. Anybody picked on me or messed with me, he had my back. If there was a tough time, a girl broke up with me or whatever, he was there. Somebody was messing with me, he was there. I mean, Christmas there, birthdays there, everything. And I mean, as an over-the-road truck driver, he didn't really necessarily care about sports. He was very, supportive of my of my writing career. I mean, he had my back unconditionally. And so when you lose somebody like that, I mean, he's like a pillar in my life. He's like a foundational piece. And we did that for each other. But, you know, he was really there unconditionally, no judgment, my best friend, the person I could turn to at any time for anything. When I needed something, I was calling him, you know. I mean, I never did, but if I would have, you know, ever gotten arrested or something like that, that's who I would have called. He would have came and got me. He would have done anything, you know.
It's just incredible. And I think it's really a great thing for you as well, personally, to be able to write through and relive those memories and do it in a way where it brings out, you know, not only the nostalgia, but you can see the color and the sights and sounds of it all. I mean, that's got to be beneficial for you in this, and not even just for you, but for for family members of Jason as well. I'm sure you've had conversations and stuff. Like I truly think that this is such a great way to truly remember somebody and honor them too.
It's great therapy for me. And I was at a Cardinal game earlier this year, and I get somebody behind me. I'm there with some friends and my girlfriend, and somebody behind me says, Hey, Bill. And I turn around, and I didn't even recognize her at first. She goes, I'm Reedy's cousin, you know, blah, blah, blah. I just want to thank you for what you're doing. I love these. And then I remembered her from when we were younger, but she had found out about the stories and been reading them. And she says the whole family reads these.
Fantastic.
They love them.
Yeah.
I got a message on Facebook from some woman I'd never met. I didn't know her. Her husband had worked with Reedy. Reedy taught this woman how to ride a motorcycle. She's a big motorcycle driver. So she was going on and telling me stories about him, and we connected through doing this, and she thanked me. She said, my ex-husband now has passed on also. And she goes, I had lost track of Reedy, and I didn't even realize he had passed away until I saw your stories. They came up somewhere. I saw him, and I'm like, well, I knew a Reedy. And she goes, I started looking at it and saw the pictures and was like, that's the Reedy that I knew. And she says, it's so perfect. I've captured his personality and done everything. And that type of meta level emotion for the people that knew him, that really drives me to keep going. But these are good. There's people that don't even know him. There is another writer that I've met on Substack that has a page. She reads every one of these now, and she loves them. I have a friend of mine that I do a movie podcast from time to time, lives in San Francisco. Never met him. I've been friends with him through doing some podcasting and things. And Brian bought 2 copies of the magazine when it comes out, and he was messaging me about it the other day. So people that never even knew Reedy, because of the level of the storytelling, the pop culture references, the Gen X nostalgia that goes with it, the 90s look to the magazine, it connects with anybody that's had those friendships and things like that.
I like this. I just think it's such a great concept, and just really across the board, Bill, it is such a great job. And now that leads us into the final part of this. And I know that the big focus right now is the Reedy Chronicles, but eventually this could be an idea, an opportunity for other people to remember loved ones or family members, you name it, throughout very, similar, short stories and collections, correct?
Absolutely. So I'm starting a part of this called Bill Roseberry Stories Written for You. In the same way I've built this platform now, with all the years in journalism that I have, interviewing anybody from Kevin Green to Ozzie Smith to, Brett Favre, and then local guys like Brian Hudson and AJ Epinesa, and, all that interviewing and all those years of connecting and building relationships with people. I want to use that with my creative writing here to go to people and say, it doesn't have to just be a deceased loved one. It could be maybe you went on a big vacation with your friends and it was such a great time, and you have this memory in your head and you don't want it to die, but you don't know how to do anything with how to tell it. Come to me. We'll sit down. I'll interview you. We'll get some photos. I'll write out a story, and then I'll do voiceovers, come up with a storytelling project, put it on YouTube, and then have the podcast, and then using MagCloud and Missy, we'll lay out something. It might not be a whole magazine, but it would be a physical media, whether it's just a trifold brochure or something, a one-pager that you can have and you can give to family members as a gift and different things and have for yourself. And all this is I think can do the same thing it's done for me and Reedy's friends, for anybody that wants to do this. And it's a service that I don't really see offered. So I hope that that people jump at that, because for me it's been so therapeutic to do this about my best friend. I think it can be for other people too.
What's the best way to get in touch with you about that? If someone, because this is a big project too. It's not. Yep. This is going to be a project, to say the least, and really it takes that because of just how much work goes into all of this. But if this starts going and someone calls you now, who knows? I mean, Christmas is 6 months away.
Right.
You never know.
Yeah, because it's going to take a little time for me to put these together, because I want to put the time into it. And it's a little different when I'm writing off other people's memories and I have to do those interviews and get all that out of them. But the easiest way probably to get a hold of me through all this is to go to Substack.com.
Okay.
And what I call this whole project is Bill Roseberry Stories. So I kept my name because all my years in journalism, people know me as my name. So I'm not going to try and do something different. I have a pen name or anything like that. So you go to Substack.com. That's Substack.com. Go type in Bill Roseberry Stories. A website will come up. There's links there to the Reedy Chronicles. There's links there to Bill Roseberry Stories Written for You. There's links to get on a waiting list for my upcoming novel whenever I get to that. If you go there, you can see all those things. There's links to my YouTube channel. You can listen to the podcast straight through Substack. So all of it is there. That's kind of the one-stop shop, and then you can go out from there. You can subscribe by entering your email address, and these things will come straight into your email inbox every week. So it's just, we're still in the growing process right now. So yeah, you have it up right now. Yeah, you can see there's one of my sports stories. You can see kind of small on the screen now of my first Rams game I ever covered. You see the back of Brett Favre there. I was about a month and a half into my time at the Intelligence. Yeah, I have been writing some of my sports stuff too, so people that know me. But that one was about a month and a half into my sports writing career at the Intelligencer, and I got to cover my first Rams game, and it happened to be the game where Brett Favre set the all-time passing yards record.
No kidding.
He passed Dan Marino, and at the I was in the press box to watch that, but then at the 2-minute warning, I get to go down on the field, and I'm standing there on the field, and he completed a pass to Greg Jennings, who came out of bounds right next to me. I could hear the ball whistling through the air, and it sounded like a shotgun blast when it hit Greg Jennings' hands. And Brett Favre's 39 years old at this point. I'm like, how hard was he throwing the ball at 25? So, and then I get to go into the press conference afterwards, and I get to, be there and asking him questions. And I mean, this had been my football hero from the time I was 15 when he showed up with the Packers, and here I am, 30 years old and
that's
just
incredible.
Absolutely, blown away by this. And it was actually I was 31. Yeah. So yeah, it was stories like that I get to tell too from that sports writing career. And I'm not going to just tell stories about Reedy there. I'm going to tell things from other parts of my life and different things. And eventually I'll write some fiction here and all that stuff. But Reedy is the foundation for everything I'm doing. He was a character in my novel. Him and I are two of the main characters. So, I figured why not start with him? And I have so many great, stories to tell about him. So I'll have a new one coming out this Monday. I've taken a short break here lately with some things going on and moving my girlfriend into my house.
Yeah.
Again, there's a YouTube video I just put out how Reedy and I connected my girlfriend and I together through his death to where now I'm with her and she's living with me. So he's still got me and leading me through life even now that he's gone, and that's such a beautiful thing. But next Monday, stories will come back, and there's a brand new Reedy story coming out on July 6th at 2 p.m. on Substack, and then we'll get back up on the YouTube with some of my sports writing YouTube stories here next week too. So
fantastic. Bill, it was great having you here today, man. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you. I love this opportunity, and you've got a great show going on here, and so I'll keep growing, and you can look for more. Volume 2 should probably be out this fall. Get on Substack and reach out to me.
Fantastic. Well, we'll look forward to having you back on the show at any time, but best of luck with all of this. And like I said, if you need anything, come back and fill us on it some more.
All right.
We'll take a quick break at 9:46, a little bit of change. We'll come back and wrap up the 9 next. Oh, man, my buttons are... See, I forgot. My buttons stopped working today, so that was almost perfect, Bill. Back with more.